All right, so feel free to use the chat as we go through this class, and I'll try to answer your questions as we go along. But it's meant to be a bit of an overview of what human design is, and to help you understand your human design type a little bit better. When I'm not discussing your particular human design type, I still want you to pay attention, because, and it's probably just the teacher in me, and the only reason I say that is because you might have your partner, your kids, your colleagues, even your downline, your upline, your business partners that have another energy type, and it's always amazing to learn about the various energy types. So can I just get a show of hands before I introduce you guys to human design? Maybe just pop in the chat. Who here, thanks, Fee. Who here had heard of human design before last month? I just want to get a bit of an overview. So, okay, Katrina had, yep. Okay, Kamla hasn't. Kamla, did you look up your chart? And maybe let me know in the comments what your human design type is. Okay, all right, Fiona has, great. So maybe you guys might know this stuff already, but I guess it's always good to go over it and then just, I guess, refresh. Okay, we've got an MG. When I found out that I was a projector, I cried for 3 days and I wished I was a manifesting generator. I don't know why I was so upset, but I was. I felt like I got the shit end of the stick being a projector, but now I'm embracing it. Okay, you're going to have to look up your chart because it's going to change your world. You can just go to, I'll type it in the chat here, Jovian Archive. Chart, and type in your birth details and then your chart will come up. All right, so you guys know me as Tash. I'm a 4-1 emotional projector. So that number in your human design, it refers to your profile. There are 12 different profiles, and you will have your own unique profile. So I found human design nearly 2 years ago, and when I did, it has changed my life, changed the way I do business, changed my relationships, especially with my fiance. He's also a projector, and so we learn to honor each other's energies in this way. So my hope that with tonight's class, you guys can learn how to start implementing some of your energy characteristics into your lifestyle, because I guess life and our family, our culture, society has conditioned us to be a particular way, and human design, I guess, strips away those layers and helps us come back to us, helps us feel more at home. So what is human design? I'll go over this very quickly, but basically in 1987, a man named Ra Uru basically received a download of information, and he pieced it together and he called it human design. Human design has both ancient and modern sciences together. So we're looking at astrology, the Chinese I Ching, the Hindu chakras, the tree of life, Kabbalah, and then it also incorporates quantum mechanics, astronomy, genetics, and biochemistry. So it's an all-in-one. So this is an example here of the Chinese I Ching, and there are 64 numbers. Now, it might fascinate you to know that we also have in our DNA 64 numbers as well. So this is where, for me, it's like the perfect chemistry coming together. It's just amazing. So whenever you see this image, this is referring to the body graph, and everyone has the same base image. We all have the same shapes and the same numbers within the shapes, except some people have various chakras colored in, and then you might notice black and red lines coming out through each number, and those are called channels or gates, depending whether they meet or not. If you have any questions, please let me know. So there are four energy types. Now you might be wondering, what about manifestor generator? So that's not considered a fifth energy type. It's considered a hybrid of the manifestor and generator in one. So each type is basically based on your aura. And so this is something that we cannot see, but it's something that we can feel. And it's something that we experience with others. So once you learn your energy type and how to embrace it, and then you understand the people in your family first and foremost, because you spend the most time with them and they matter obviously most to you, you can better live in a more, I guess, like open and abundant world. There's a really important word I'm going to use here. It's called alignment. And so when we're living in alignment, life opens up for us, opportunities present themselves to us, and, like things just fall into place. We've spoken about this before in terms of coincidence, like there's no such thing as coincidence. On the other hand, when someone is not living in alignment, they experience different characteristics and feelings and emotions, and that is basically based on your archetype. Okay, and once you learn about this, it will open up your world. So learning about your particular energy type with human design, if you think you've walk away from tonight's class and you think, yep, I know everything about human design, you've got another thing coming, because it is only the tip of the iceberg in terms of your chart. The rule is, with human design, it's going to take us 7 years of living your human design experiment in order to become more of you. Okay, so it takes 7 years to decondition, and that's based on psychology and science at the same time. So I think that's pretty interesting. Yeah, pretty mind-blowing. So your type is a general description of the energetics you are working with. And once you learn more about each type, you'll soon learn about how you are able to feel and experience and encounter the various energy types. Okay, so Kamala's a generator. Beautiful. All right. So no type is better or worse or good or bad. Don't be fooled like me when I first found out I was not a manifesting generator, but basically each is an essential part of the collective energetic ecosystem. And when you learn about more human design aspects, you'll just see how perfectly aligned it is, and you'll start to understand the relationships in your life better. I don't know if you guys know this, but the most viewed TED Talk on 2-4 for Katrina, beautiful. The most viewed TED Talk on TED Talks, it's called The Longest Study on Human History. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's worthwhile watching. If you like, I'll pop it in the comments in our group chat. But basically, the longest study ever conducted on human history is still taking place today, and it started in 1929. So at the start of the Great Depression, I think it was Harvard University decided to conduct studies on what makes people happy. That's it. That's the headline. There's no catch behind it. And so they interviewed people in America, obviously, from all walks of life. 2 of those people that they interviewed went on to become presidents. Some of them went on to become footy players and basketball players. Some of them went on and died very young. Some of them lived very poor lives. And so they've got people from all walks of life. Now, the study is still taking place today because those original people that they interviewed, they just kept getting more grants, obviously, for the study, and they've interviewed their kids, their grandkids. Originally, it was just the men, and now they've opened it up to the women in the families. And spoiler alert here, they found that the one conclusive element that determined what determines a happy life, it's not money, it's not your job, it's not your career, it's not where you're born, where you grow up, where you choose to live. The number one common factor, and this has been a 90-year study, is relationships. Okay, that's the secret to life. You might have heard Tony Robbins say, the quality of your life is dependent on the quality of your relationships. Okay. Now, when you look at us doing business, you cannot be successful in this business if you do not understand relationships and if you don't have proper, established, grounded, respectful, meaningful relationships with others. And so when you think about human design, I think this is like the perfect piece. It just brings it all together. I'm fascinated by that study. You can look it up, but it's really worth the watch. So the strategies are extremely useful and are implemented for a reason. This is with each energy type. They are here to be empowering and protect your energy, okay? Once you learn about your own energy type, you do need to preserve and protect it and live in alignment with it. So it's like you're basically born with these superpowers, and it's like up until you learn about human design, it's like you didn't know what your superpowers were or how to use them. And now you've got this deeper understanding. So living according to your energy type requires you to be centered in your value, authenticity, and self-worth. And your strategy, which we will discuss, is a key component of cultivating your magnetism. When you are living in true alignment to your design, you will be magnetic to everything you ever want. So we use the word, manifest here and there, but living in your human design by default will help you manifest a lot better. Okay, Z has to leave. That's okay. We'll send you the replay. Thanks for hopping on. All right, your signature is also the highest vibrational feeling. So every energy type has a different signature, and we will just discuss this. And then for each type, it's basically like the happy place of the soul. There's a deep undercurrent of motivation that is always searching for the signature. So you might, once you learn what your signature is, you will go back and think about the big moments in your life, the good and the bad, and how you were always searching for this. And you will look back and at the times when you did experience it and just think, wow, I've been doing this my whole life without even realizing what it is. So it's pretty amazing. So the first up are manifestors. Now, manifestor strategy is to inform, okay? And that's a beautiful thing when you, in a moment, we're going to look at the people, the famous people who are manifestors. And if you look at their roles in society, they have always been informing others. They're not self-themed. So the not self-theme is when you are not in alignment, they experience anger. And then their signature is peace. So when a manifestor experiences peace, they are in alignment and they will naturally attract peace into their world. So when we look at the famous people who experience, who are manifestors, you'll notice that, various parts in their life, let's be real here with all these celebrities, it's always relationships and money are the two biggest problems that they would experience. When they are living their happy life, they do experience more peace, but then when they are having relationship or money problems, anger will surface for them. So a manifestor has a defined motor center connected to the throat. So you will notice a lot of the manifestors, they have, because their throat is defined, they have this big voice. They whatever they say, it resonates with others. And this also goes for manifesting generators because you have that hybrid type. They see things that others just don't see. It's like they have this helicopter view of things, which is beautiful. And the common limiting beliefs they experience is others don't just get me. The world is trying to control me, and it's me against the world. So the one thing that I love about this is if you have a manifesting child, a child that's a manifester, and you now have this understanding, then you can better parent your child. Okay. There are thousands of books, or hundreds of, probably thousands of books, and heaps of blogs, and even videos on YouTube that you can look into about, how to parent using human design. Now, conditioning, which has been placed upon us by society, our parents, our culture, for manifestors, their ideas are shut down very easily. Parents try to control them, labeled as problem children. I guess most of us on here are teachers. That does break my heart. And I guess you would know maybe your encounters in the school setting with other teachers, when it's just there's this stigma on that one child that's labeled as naughty. But then when you have that one-on-one conversation with them, you just see a completely different side to them. So this would be an example of that. Manifestors aren't given the control that they need over their experience. So this is where, as a parent, if you, for instance, the child wants to play a particular sport, they want to play rugby, I don't know, AFL or something. And then you say, no, that's too rough. You should play soccer, or you should do table tennis. It's like, well, no, I think the child needs to have a little bit more autonomy over their choices. And then a manifestor needs to learn to trust their intuition and their visions. Sometimes they're called unrealistic or childish or demanding, but I guess if we're on the receiving end and we understand what their energy type is, we can better appreciate their type. Okay, that's okay. If you don't know your husband's birth time, you can still go in and play with the chart and basically go 3 a.m., 6 a.m. and see if it's the same. Otherwise, you can do muscle testing, and I'll teach you at the end of the class how to do that. I've been pretty accurate with others. If you've never done muscle testing, it's very easy, but you can actually find out someone's, oh, your son's a manifestor, Fee, that's so special. Okay, you did the muscle testing to get yours, even better. That's beautiful to know. So you and Katrina can have a chat about that. I hope you're able to better, I guess, appreciate your son, having learnt some of these things about his profile tonight. Okay, so famous manifestors: Frida Kahlo, Johnny Depp, Adele, and then Jennifer Aniston. Now, these are, he's a perfect child. Oh, that's so special. I love that. You're a perfect little manifester. Now, these famous manifestors, if you think about their experience in the world and in the spotlight, they really have a voice, and we can't help but be like succumb to going, what else? What are you sharing with us? We will buy whatever it is you sell us. Okay, well, that's the perception that I'm getting here. Adele she just came out of nowhere. She's got this big, an amazing voice, and her songs resonate with people from all walks of life. Johnny Depp and his experiences, he's had a few relationship issues, I'm pretty sure, and so has Jennifer Aniston. I guess they're living in the spotlight. That's just something that they're going to have to live with. So moving on to generators. Now, generators are actually make up 70% of humanity. Okay, so it is the most common. Pure generators are only 29% or 30%, I think it is. But when you combine manifesting generators, they're 70% of the population. So their strategy is to respond. Now, the consensus here is you receive some information, you hear, whether it's in a conversation or it's in a news setting or you read it online, your job, your strategy is to respond to this. So you hear something shocking on the news, you can't help but have to say something about it. Okay, that's your energy type. Now, your not self theme is frustration. So when you get frustrated with people, experiences, life, this is when you need to stop and go, okay, I'm not in alignment here. I need to go back to who I am. Okay. And on the other hand, your signature is satisfaction. So when you feel satisfied, when that feeling, when you get into bed and you're like, oh, it feels so good, that's when you're living in alignment. So I guess it's a beautiful thing to look out for these signs. So you have a defined sacral center. Now, the sacral center on the chart, it's the second bottom one, the second one from the bottom, and I think it's a square from memory. I can't remember, but it's the life force. It's the where the energy sits. Okay, if you're a generator, do not tell me you're tired and you don't have the energy for stuff, because it's in your DNA to have this energy that you don't know where it's come from, but that's who you are. Now, the generators are the great creators of the collective. Okay. As a responder, you create things, okay, which is beautiful. And you basically become a magnet for ideas and opportunities. So this would come into play when you might be, okay, without intentionally doing this, you would receive a download, okay, an idea or an opportunity. And when you receive it, you are not one to sit back and go, yep, carry on with life, let's forget about it. No, you have to respond to this. Okay, that's your job. So you've received this download for a reason. It's like you've been selected, you're chosen for this, and your job is to bring it out into the world, which is a beautiful thing. Now, common limiting beliefs for generators is the things that I love to do can't support me. Okay, so it might be, for instance, in the creative field, you might want to be a musician or an artist or something like that. I have to work hard at a job to be successful. If I enjoy it, it's silly and should stay a hobby, and it's not that easy. So this is where we see a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that fine line, because they're stuck in their 9 to 5. Because there's that limiting belief, this is the only thing that I can do to bring, money home. But when you are not doing what you love, you will forever stay in that frustrated state, which is pretty sad when you think about it. All right, Fee's saying you have to do something about it right there and then. Exactly right. So as a generator, you cannot sit back and respond later. There's that sense of urgency in you, and that's because your sacral center, that energy life force, is like now or never. Okay, and it's not never, it's got to be done. Now, conditioning shows up when your joy is shut down. So I was just mentioning how if you're in a job that it's like a deadbeat job, you're not happy, I'm sorry to say this, but it's going to show and manifest in other areas of your life, okay? And that leads to mistrusting your intuition and using your mind to decide, okay? I'm going to speak about this for a moment, because our society, we've been trained, and I guess the school system does this to us a lot. You're taught, think with your head when you go to make a decision, okay? No, I'm sorry, but no. We need to start trusting the signals that our body is sending us, okay? If you are around someone and you have this physically ill feeling in your body, it could be subtle, it could be strong, depends who it is. That's your body telling you to keep away from that person, okay? And you can look back at your life and say, oh my gosh, yes, when I was around person X, I would feel X, Y, Z, okay? You need to start connecting those dots. Anxiety does show up, Dee, yes, because that is you need to start trusting the way your body sends you signals, okay? So for instance, if you're at work and there's one particular boss or a colleague that's just an ass, and you physically get sick thinking about having to work with them, or if you're on the same shift, or if you know that, there's going to be a meeting or something like that, and you physically get ill, that person is not right for you, okay? So sometimes it's not easy, because you can't just tell your boss, sorry, don't want to talk to you today, can't go to the meeting. It's not as easy as that, but you need to start trusting. Okay. So it's just interesting to learn to trust your intuition. Okay, your intuition and then the signals your body sends you. Okay, they're two really important things. So people often confuse intuition with head. It's not. It's, you need to start to trust that that signal you're receiving, it's there for a reason. So some famous MGs: Beyonce, Ellen, J-Lo, Oprah, which is amazing. Now, if you think about Oprah, what has she come here to create? Ellen would be, you know, in that same boat there with Oprah, maybe a little bit of a smaller boat than Oprah, but they have come here to change and create. They've created both these like an empire, and each in their own right. It's been a beautiful thing to watch them grow and help others in various ways. Now, J-Lo and Beyonce have broken, you know, records with their music and their amazing talent, but they've also come here to create music like no other female singers have in their own respective fields, which is pretty amazing. Yep, Kamla, you need to start trusting those vibes. You know, like vibes speak louder than words, you know, energy speaks louder than words. This is exactly what we're talking about here. So we need to tap into that a lot more. Now, MGs, your strategy is to respond and inform. So you got the double whammy. And this comes in with your ability to create things, but it's not going to happen with you sitting on your ass doing nothing. You have to be action-based. Now, your not self theme is anger and frustration. So you would experience both, okay? And then on the other hand, your signature is satisfaction and peace, okay? So ideally you want to have both, but if you have one, it's a beautiful thing regardless. So you have a defined sacral and motor center connected to the throat. So you'll notice some of the famous MGs, once you know who they are, you'll be like, okay, that explains why they're able to just, I guess I'm going to use the word just, it's not success, it's not the word I'm looking for. They're just able to click, 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 and then things just happen. They are the square pegs of the world. So they hold strong pillars, and then society can't help but flock to them because of the things that they're teaching and initiating into our world. Some common limiting beliefs that come up for MGs are that the things, sorry, that Polly said, they think they are too much. They need to stop being all over the place. They need to, should have edited this, sorry guys. They need to make up their minds and stick with something. So often manifesting generators will change their mind about things, okay? Now, my brother is an MG and he's always changing his mind. And you know, my mum would give him flack, or my other siblings would say, just hurry up and make up your mind. And it wasn't until we learned this that I actually said to him, it's your type to actually change your mind. And that's okay. You need to accept that. And once you do change your mind and you're happy with your decision, run with it. So the conditioning that's placed, you know, people assume, or parents or teachers on a younger child, that they're rebellious and they don't tell anyone what they're up to. So there is an element of secrecy here, but that's okay. And then they ignore their intuition and they shut themselves down before anyone else can. So this would play in with a bit of confidence, like natural confidence coming through. They either shame their generator side or their manifester. So sometimes there is that interplay between the two. But remember, at the end of the day, depending on your chart, you know, you would be, and you would know within yourself, I'm more of a manifester or a more generator. Okay. So, you know, it's like having a child that, you know, from parents of two different backgrounds. You could look at the child and say, you know, you look more, I don't know, Italian than Spanish or something like that. So it's, yeah, same thing here. Okay, yes. So this comes into your primary health system, Katrina, because of the throat center. when you're not in alignment, so the stress coming through, that's going to manifest depending on your chart and some of the gates that are connected to your throat chakra. So it's that goes really, really deep, but yes, that's how it would represent itself. Now, some famous MGs. So these are some pretty famous people: Mother Teresa, Angelina Jolie, Jessica Alba, and Tony Robbins. Now, Tony Robbins, it's like if he says jump, we're going to say how high. Okay, that's if you want to learn, and he's like the godfather of personal development. Okay, he's on my bucket list to go and see him one day. Like, there's no way I'm dying before that happens. Wouldn't that be amazing? So hurry up and come to Sydney, or we're going to have to go to the States to see him one day. But Mother Teresa, she has come to revolutionize how we treat the poor and what it means. And like, she's redefined all of that for us. And then Angelina Jolie, if you look at her history as well. So projectors, I don't know if there are any projectors on live with us tonight, but I know in our group there are a few projectors. So, and if you do the charts of people in your family, you'll know that they're a projector based on what I'm about to say. So the strategy for a projector is to wait for the invitation. Now, this is something that I personally struggle with, because I see something, I want to respond, I want to initiate, I want to act on it. But the only way that I'm going to achieve success is if I'm invited into it. Okay. So the example would be, it could be, and I'm not talking about going for a coffee date. I'm not talking about buying dinner. Okay. I'm not talking about the little mundane decisions we make. The big decisions in life, a projector needs to be invited into it. When they are not invited into a situation, their energy, it protrudes onto others. Okay, it's projected. So this would be, when someone walks into a room and they're stressed and they're angry with life, they're bitter, they're in the room. They don't have to say a word. Their energy is just like, oh. And then it's like that Dementor from Harry Potter. It's like they just suck the life out of you. That's when a projector is not in alignment. Now, their not self theme is bitterness. So when I'm feeling bitter, I know that I'm not in alignment and I need to come back to me. And on the other hand, the signature is success. So when I feel successful, it's like, whoa, I'm flying high. Okay, Fiona's husband. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see when you work out his chart, what comes up there. But yeah. On the other hand, the projectors, they are 20% of the population in the world, and they are the future leaders of the world, okay? They're in the human design world. There is a lot of projectors that in the younger generation are now being born because they are the leaders of the world, okay? Who was I going to say? Like Barack Obama is a projector, and he's considered a leader. I'm not here to talk about politics, but some of the other, I forget who it was. You can look it up, but the projectors are here to lead, and they are here to do it by invitation, okay? And if you look at people's history, like some famous people, they would have been invited into their roles, and they would not have initiated this on their own. I look at both me and Nick. When we went to buy a house, we were looking for 1.5 years, and it was a painful 1.5 years. We would contact the agent. We would go to all the open houses. We would do X, Y, Z. And I swear to God, we were asked to buy the house that we bought, okay? And it was because we made contact with a sales guy, and we're like, you know what? This is my criteria. Do not call me unless you tick all my 5 boxes. And out of the blue, he rang us and he said, I've got the perfect house for you. You need to make a decision today. Okay. And it was like, it's the most beautiful house. It'll be ready early next year. Had we not got that, the next available house and land package would be ready 2024. Okay. I ain't waiting 2-3 years for that to happen. So it's like, if you look back at our journey, that's what had to happen. We were asked to buy the house. Now, in saying that, when for a projector to experience that success or to receive that invitation, because sometimes they say the invitation can take years, they must be doing their thing. Okay, so this is where, for instance, if you have someone in your team that is a projector, they may struggle with social media. I've struggled with social media for years. I'm there doing my thing. I can't just pop into someone's DM and go, hey, here's a Home Essentials kit. You need it, buy it. Okay. A manifester or a manifester generator or a generator, you can do that. You are designed to pop into someone's inbox and go, hey, you said you had your kids were sick, or you said your kids were vomiting. Here's some Digestin. I know you need it. I know it's going to help you. When I do that, it comes across as boom. Okay. And that's something that I've had to learn the hard way. So keep a lookout for some projectors in your life. Now, projectors have no defined sacral or motor throat, but they have some definition in those areas. So with no sacral, that basically means the projectors in your life have no energy. Guys, if I do a task in the morning, as small or as big as it is, I need a nap, okay? And I used to think I had low iron. I used to think, oh, I'm anemic. Oh my gosh, adrenals. I've done all those tests. No, it's got nothing to do with the physical. I'm not sick in any way. I have to honor that as a projector, I am going to get tired and I need to honor my rest. Okay. So look out for the projectors in your life and you need to honor their rest. Okay. I would be more than happy to have an 8 p.m. bedtime. That would be a dream for me, but life just doesn't allow for that. So, but when I do have my naps in the day, I'm able to thrive better. Now, in saying that, projectors are not designed for the 9 to 5. Okay. I worked as a full-time teacher for 8 years, and my God, it felt like 40 years of work. Okay. I was so burnt out because, as you guys would know, teaching is not 9 to 3, it's 24/7. The emails at 11 p.m., I worked in a private school and the expectation was high. And I just couldn't cope with it. Okay. I don't know how I would have stuck out being, working full time. And so for me, working now, I choose my own hours, being that entrepreneur. I've got my own doTERRA business. I've got my other animal communication business. So I choose when I work and I honor that energy. Okay. So please, if you do have projectors in your life, you need to honor when they get tired, they get tired. You just need to respect that. So the projectors are the guides of the collective. As I said before, the future leaders. They really want to be recognized for their perspective. So when you do have a projector in your life and they are offering or you have asked them because you've invited them in this situation and they have given you some advice, you need to honor that and basically recognize it. In saying that, when a projector does give unsolicited advice, it comes across as being really pushy and judgy. And you have to keep the kids quiet while they sleep. Holy moly, that is so my husband. Okay, yeah. See, there's so much to learn, right? So limiting beliefs. So the non-energy type. So like I said before, you will never find a projector with a defined sacral. Defined basically means whether the chakra is colored in or not. So it will be white for the projector. They common limiting beliefs. Nobody sees me. So this is where I'll be literally on a Zoom. Could be 3 people, 4 people, 10 people. I literally feel invisible, guys. This is a thing. And this could be in person as well. I'm with a group of people. Projectors are designed to work one-on-one with others. They're not designed for that group setting. Okay. So this is where you think about working, like coaching, mentoring, doing readings with someone, that's one-on-one. It's not designed to be in this group setting. So yeah, like I'll be honest with you girls, in our grow group, sometimes when I post things like in the group chat, I feel ignored. I know it's not personal. I know no one intends to do that, but that's just what happens. Katrina, so your son is an MG and your daughter's a generator. So strategy, yeah. So that's the family dynamic that you have to appreciate and nurture, which is beautiful. Common limiting beliefs for projectors: I need to convince people that you're valuable and I just need to keep up. So needing to keep up would be, say, for instance, you're all right, you're on school camp and everyone's got energy. You know, you've done bushwalking in the day, you've done the giant swing, and then at night you've got a campfire and you're going to play board games or something, and everyone's pumped for it and you are depleted, you are exhausted. Okay, that's an example when you just can't keep up. Okay, sometimes it's not possible to go and have a nap, sometimes it is, it just depends on the situation. And then FOMO with things because can't keep up. Conditioning shows up when they are not allowed to explore and learn about the things that they love learning about. Okay, so this would, especially in young children, you need to honor what they want to explore. Nick, now he's a drummer, but when he was younger, his parents forced him to play the piano when he really wanted to play the drums. And they said, no, there's no career in drums. You've got to play the piano. And then when he was 18, he's like, I'm going to play the drums. I don't care what you say. And he up until recently, he felt like he had lost those earlier years. Okay. Because he's like, well, if I had started at 8 years old, I could be further ahead. But it's just, again, conditioning is real. So some famous projectors: Princess Di, Salvador Dali, Barack Obama, and Marilyn Monroe. So when you look at their lives, they were invited into their particular roles in the world. And then I guess Princess Di, she's got a beautiful and heartbreaking story at the same time. But when she would project her values and beliefs onto her family, it was not well received. Okay, and we saw what happened with her. So it's pretty sad when you think about it. And then at the same time, I'm pretty sure, I don't know this in detail, but Barack Obama, he was invited to be run for the Senate because of his racial background and history there. So yeah, I don't know much about Marilyn Monroe, but yeah, I guess there would always have to be a backstory to each of them. Okay, now reflectors. Reflectors, you may never meet one in your life because they only account for 1% of the whole population on Earth, which is pretty crazy. Now, their strategy is to wait a lunar cycle, okay? So if they're making a decision about taking on a new job, buying a house, being in a relationship, they have to literally wait 28 days and see how they feel. Okay, if they're feeling that low, then the decision's not right for them. So that's pretty epic. Now, their not self theme is disappointment, and their signature is surprise. Okay, now they have no defined centers. So when you see a reflector chart, there is no color whatsoever. It is completely white. They are a mirror for their environment and social circle. So if you happen to ever meet a reflector, how they are feeling, it's not their feelings. It's actually, they are reflecting back the environment, okay? So let's talk pandemic. I personally don't know any reflectors, but they would be feeling pretty sucky, okay? And it's not their pure feelings. They are reflecting back onto us as a collective what we are all experiencing. So a reflector might feel elevated at a wedding, or if there's an event coming up in the family, like a birthday or an engagement or New Year's or Christmas, Easter, you know, but then when there's a death in the family, they will feel that. It's like high, high, low, low sort of thing. Okay, you know someone like this. It'd be interesting to see if you do make that connection. Thanks, Kamala. That's okay. We'll catch you. I'll send you the replay. So it's very important for a reflector to clear their open centers and spend a lot of their time alone, because when they are around other people, they are absorbing all that energy. So they need a lot of clearing. So a lot of healing modalities would be really helpful for them. Need a healthy environment to be in, and energetic people around them often. So being around high vibe people is going to lift up their vibration. Common limiting beliefs, is this really a part of me? So there will be that doubt. Is what I'm feeling me, or is it what's happening? Is this mine? So the feelings, or is it someone else's? Who am I? There's a lot of contemplation going on. And then the conditioning shows up when reflectors are not allowed to speak what they truly see. Okay. Reflectors have this ability to see what should be done, but they're not honored for that. Some famous reflectors, Teal Swan. You guys might know her. I've been following her online. She's got this amazing, like the way she speaks, it's so captivating, but she really has some deep insight. If you're not following her, find her page. She's amazing. I don't know much about Amma, but Sandra Bullock, I was again surprised to see that she was a reflector. So I'm interested to know when she takes on those amazing roles like Miss Congeniality and what's the footy one? Oh my gosh. Oh, I can see his face, but I can't. You guys know the movie. I forget. I'd be really keen to know, did she reflect, basically a whole month before she took on those roles? So that's something to learn about. So that's just the overview for your energy type, okay? We're now going to look at inner and outer authorities, okay? This is where it gets very, very interesting with decision making. So this is the something, sorry, the things there. How do I move this? All right. This is the voice of your most authentic self. It's the energetic representative of your soul. It helps you make soul-based decisions and get out of your head, okay, as we spoke about before. When we think about things, we filter the situation through our conditioning and beliefs. So this allows you to be the passenger in this journey. I guess when we trust life, trust the universe, and there is a single center that will strongly send you signals to guide you where you need to be, okay? And you are going to learn about this and go, oh my gosh, yes, okay? And it's going to be very interesting once you learn about your authority. So the hierarchy of authority, so 50% of our population is emotional authority, and that's defined by the solar plexus. Sacral authority, so with the, I'm pretty sure I go into this, but with the, a lot of what you say about the projector is so how I felt most of my life, especially as a young woman, not being seen or heard. I have heaps of energy though. Can you feel aligned with one type and not that? Okay. So Katrina, when you say this, that's because you've been conditioned to be like a projector, but really we need to take off those layers because you are a true MG. Okay. So like not being seen, not being heard, that's because of, it could be family dynamic, it could be school setting, it could be things that have happened in your childhood, especially those first 7 years that have now stuck with you as you've grown up, and so it stays with you into your uni years. Yeah, okay, so you can make those connections there. So I guess it's a beautiful thing now, because once you understand your kids design, you're able to step back a bit and let them be who they truly are. So solar plexus is 50% of our population. Sacral is, so emotional people, they are emotional, okay? It's those that, and you'll know when someone is emotional. Like, for instance, for me, if Nick comes home and he's got me a chai and I didn't ask for it, I'd be like, oh my God, thank you so much. How exciting. I was thinking I wanted one, you got one, da, da, da. I'm not being cheesy here, but I'm like, I get really excited about that. Now, when I do the same for him or with something bigger, like I might get him, I don't know, an Xbox something or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, are you excited? And he'll be like, no, not really. I'm like, what do you mean you're not excited? Like, I just don't understand how he cannot be. And that's because I'm emotional. I expect others, but no, that's not how it works. So the next most popular one is sacral. So with sacral authority, you get that feeling in your gut. That's that gut feeling. You cannot change it. It's like, I have a gut feeling, that's the house I should buy. That's the, even if you're driving, if your head says the quickest way to go to the shops is that way, gut feeling says turn right. And then you just follow that gut feeling. Okay. That's your sacral authority. The next one is your spleen. Now, your spleen is connected to your intuition. And you do get that gut feeling, except it's a hit. Okay. It's not a constant gut feeling. So you need to be really paying attention to how your body is feeling. And when you get that hit, it's like, okay, yes. Now, for both sacral and spleen, you're going to feel that in your body or nah. Okay. And that's literally how they word it in human design. It's or nah. Okay. So you'll know one or the other. There is the other authorities. They're not as popular as the others. I think they're like 2-3% each. Heart, which is your ego authority. G center, so you yourself, it's like, it's not a body feeling, it's just a knowing. Environment, so that's no inner authority. So your environment around you is going to dictate how you make decisions. And then there's the lunar cycle. If the solar plexus is colored in your chart, then you are emotional authority. If not, the sacral is in charge. So solar plexus. So you might, is anyone here a solar plexus authority? Solar plexus takes precedence over all the other authority centers. It operates in a wave-like pattern. So to give you an example, when an emotional person is making a decision, they cannot make the decision straight away, or they should not, rather, they have to wait for that high and low. So for instance, if you come to me and you're like, hey, Tash, tomorrow or next week, next month, let's go on a holiday, let's go to Queensland. Tonight, I'm feeling really good. I'm like, oh my God, yes, let's go, let's do it. And then I go to Jetstar, I book my tickets, I book my flights, Tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be feeling low, okay? And I'm going to be like, oh, I didn't think this through. I have exams, I have marking, I have blah, 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 blah. Why did I do it? And then you have this regret, okay? In saying that, an emotional authority person will never feel 100% about a decision they make, okay? They will only ever have 80% conviction over their decisions. So I'll give you an example. When we were supposed to get married last month, and we booked our honeymoon to Hayman Hamilton Island. And after I booked it, I was like, oh, we should have booked North Queensland, or should have booked New Zealand. I just had this regret. And then when I learned that we are only 80% convicted, then it's like, okay, that's okay. I was 80% sure of it. So you just have to trust that. So your emotions need to go through and process all the potential feelings that could occur. So contemplation is really important. So you need to feel out the situation. And then, am I emotionally and energetically available for this? Okay. So for instance, if you tell me I need your time or anything along those lines, like where you are needing me to give of myself, I need to check in and go, is this right for me? Okay. So we need to understand our own waves. So when something excites us, we need to like go, okay, I need to wait for that settlement to charge through. And then wait for clarity. Yep, that comes in that emotional still. So you've asked me about the holiday right now. It's like, yes, best idea in the world. Tomorrow morning, I've had time to think about it. It's like, oh gosh, no, there's too many things on. I can't do it. I shouldn't book and I shouldn't make a decision. So if someone is an emotional authority in your life, you need to give them time to make a decision. Okay. And this would also come into play. You guys are going to laugh, but you probably, because it's 50% of the population, you will have a lot more people with this in your life. If you ask an emotional person with an emotional authority, what do you want for dinner? You are not going to get that instant answer. Okay. And whereas if you, yeah, does that make sense? I hope it does. But yeah, that comes into play. So sacral authority, so that's that gut feeling, and you get that immediate response in the body. So it's the moment to just know if it's a yes or a no. There is no maybe. Okay, you'll know in your body, and then you need to follow that. It's really important that you do trust that. So only generators can have a sacral authority, because obviously projectors don't have their sacral defined. Clarity comes from having clearly worded question. So this is where I said before, if you ask an emotional person, what do you want for dinner? That you need to give them time to think about it. Whereas for a sacral authority, you need to ask them, do you want pizza or do you want Thai for dinner? Okay. You cannot ask them an open-ended question. Okay. Well, you can, but you're not going to get an as good response as you will with having a clearly worded question. Okay. So this might be with your child. If they're sacral authority, you ask them, do you want to play Lego or do you want to play Minecraft right now? Okay. It's not what do you want to do? Okay. Asking them a question like, what do you want to do? It confuses them and they don't have clarity. So then the decision-making process takes a lot longer. So it's pretty interesting in that way. The sacral only functions in the present. So don't bother asking them, what do you want for dinner tomorrow night? That can be really confusing for them. And they have to think and know in their body, is this opportunity correct for me right now? And that's how they would base their decisions. Now, splenic authority is that instant resonance of what is healthy for you or not. So it's that quick, immediate response in the body. However, it does require a deep level of intuitive attention. Okay. So if you're too much in your head, too distracted, and you're splenic authority, you need to take it back a notch. Try meditating, try grounding. Belly breathing will also be really helpful for you because in order to help you receive that intuitive hit. It speaks only once and it speaks quietly. So you need to be really in tune with your body to receive that. It's the knowing found deep underneath the surface. So with that, a person with splenic authority can never explain to you why they are making this decision. Okay. So for instance, when Nick and I were looking at different areas of where we should buy our house, he couldn't explain to me why we were going in that direction. Whereas for me, I was the emotional one. When he first told me we're going to move out this way, I cried, and he still laughs about it till now. It was a 30-minute drive. I cried the whole way. I was like, there's no way you can do that to me. Do not take me out of my area. Whereas for him, he received that hit and he's like, I can't explain why, but this is what it is. And it's like, okay, once I was able to come out of because that was a low phase for me. Once I was able to come out of that and, experience the high and then sit in that middle phase, it was like, okay, yes, this is the right decision. Splenic authority is unaware of the future. It's again right now. So very similar to sacral, and it can change in 10 minutes. So you need to keep checking in with them. And again, asking, is this healthy for me? So heart authority or ego, it's connect from the heart to the throat center. So they're very verbal and intuitive in that way. They talk out loud and listen to what you are saying. So you know how we say, oh, there's that 4-year-old who just doesn't shut up. They just don't stop talking. Or that child in your class that's just always talkative. They could have an ego authority. They need to inform others of their decision as they make it. Excuse me. It's really important for them to be vocal about it. Now, they can make selfish decisions in their moment, which is pretty interesting. But there is a reason for that. They're very easy to get lost in all the openness. So sometimes with decision making, too many options doesn't serve them well. And they do have to ask, is this what I truly want? And they'll experience fulfillment when they realize that this power helps keep the defined heart center healthy. Okay, so these people might experience a lot of heart. It might manifest in heart and throat issues physically. The G center, so self-projected authority. It's very important to stay in tune with your strategy. So if you're a projector, your strategy is to wait for the invitation. If you're a manifester, it's to inform. So you need to stay true to that. Your truth is an expression of your core identity. You have no defined motor centers, so it's very easy to lose track of your own voice. Constantly questioning, will this make me happy? Will this allow me to express myself? Am I headed in the right direction? And then discussing their decisions with others, not to get their opinions, but to hear yourself talk. So they do need that soundboard to help them. You know how sometimes someone might call you and say, oh, I just need to talk, and they don't necessarily want, before you even give them advice, they're like, oh, I just already feel better. Okay, that could be a self-projected authority. And then environmental authority, it's for mental projectors only. So that's that. They're designed to receive guidance from the sensory information that their environment gives them. So see, touch, feel, etc. They have a group of trusted close friends they use as a sounding board. They want to hear themselves think out loud. So I guess there is a bit of overlap between this and the self-projected. The mind really likes to interject in the decision-making process. So because they're mental projectors, opposite to the rest of us being in tune with our body, theirs is coming from the head. And then the lunar cycle, our lovely lunar reflector type. So reflectors are moon or lunar authority. So through the lunar cycle, the different portions of the chart are illuminated. They will show up as a mirror for the rest of society, and they need to wait 28 days to make a decision to see what that feels like within their body according to their energy. And what is consistent throughout all aspects of their personality. So there will be a common trend here. So for them, if the environment feels good, so will the reflector. So how are we going? What are your thoughts, guys? Not even sure of the time. Are we fine to keep going with the 9 centers? It's getting a bit late.
I actually do have to get going, Tash. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. I didn't realize the time, but yeah, I'll stop sharing for now and I'll stop recording.